The world of 1977. Wheeling, West Virginia felt quiet, protected, and deeply faithful. High above the city, nestled in the serene grounds of Mount St. Joseph, the Sisters of St. Joseph Convent stood as a beacon of sanctuary. Yet on June 13th of that year, the silence that enveloped these holy grounds was shattered, replaced by a profound and absolute terror. It was the day faith met pure brutality. The victim was Robin Elam, a young woman dedicated to a life of spiritual service, murdered while contemplating her final vows. A brutal sexual assault and murder had taken place on holy ground, marking a terrifying turning point for the community and launching one of the Ohio Valley's most complex and persistent cold cases. The story of Sister Robin Elam is the nightmare of a killer hiding in plain sight for decades, his secret maintained only by the passage of time and the fragility of human memory. Robin Elam, known affectionately as Robin, was not the typical image of a postulant nun. At 26, she was described by her brother, Chris Elam, as outspoken and direct, someone fueled by a fierce passion for social justice issues. In June 1977, she was engaged in the ultimate act of spiritual commitment, an 8-day silent retreat at the convent, a time for prayer, meditation, and wrestling with the profound decision of taking her final vows. The vulnerability inherent in this intentional retreat, the expectation of peace and isolation, stood in horrifying contrast to the violence that awaited her. On the morning of June 13th, Robin grabbed her Bible and an apple before walking a short distance up a hill, less than 100 yards from the retreat house. She settled onto a secluded bench, one of the spots the nuns regularly visited for contemplation and prayer, about 500 yards from the Mother House building. The silence she sought became the killer's cloak. Hours later, the routine of the day was irreversibly broken. Robin's lifeless body was discovered approximately 40 feet away from her overturned bench. She had been brutally raped and strangled. The community was gripped by disbelief over such a heinous crime committed against someone preparing to devote her life to God. The agonizing question for investigators was immediate. Was this a crime of simple opportunity, or was Sister Robin targeted by someone who knew exactly where she would be? The sheer magnitude of the crime spurred a massive, immediate investigation. However, the subsequent decades would demonstrate that the initial response was plagued by severe obstacles. This era of investigation suffered not from a lack of effort, but from systemic dysfunction. Investigators who were present at the time cited a crucial lack of cooperation between departments during the early stages, with leads, theories, and physical evidence scattered, resulting in reports all over the place. This environment of investigative confusion in the critical first days and weeks proved devastating. Instead of rapidly isolating a suspect, the disorganized effort led to a broad, unfocused suspect pool that included construction workers, teenagers, and married family men known to the area. The initial investigation, designed to bring swift justice, instead became mired in bureaucratic inertia, frustrating detectives and allowing the killer to slip into the shadows, thus establishing the long, slow-burning drama of the cold case. As the years passed without an arrest, a subsequent terrifying crime 250 miles away forced investigators and the public to confront the possibility that Robin's murder was not an isolated incident. This element provides the core thriller aspect of the investigation, the fear of a pattern. In Toledo, Ohio, 3 years later in 1980, Sister Margaret Ann Parle was viciously murdered on Holy Saturday. The details were shocking and suggested a darkness far beyond simple violence. Sister Parle was strangled and stabbed 31 times, and most horrifyingly, 9 of the wounds were deliberately arranged in the shape of an inverted cross. Forensic analysis suggested the arrangement was intentional, designed to humiliate Parle in death, and implied a satanic ritual. Further bolstering this dark theory was the discovery of a book describing how to perform the satanic Black Mass, found in the possession of the primary suspect, hospital chaplain Father Gerald Robinson, who was later convicted of the crime. This case, marked by such an extreme ritualistic signature, injected profound dread into the narrative. The public was compelled to ask, Could the tragedy of Sister Robin Elam, the first brutal attack on a nun in the region, have been the unrefined precursor to this ritualistic escalation? Was a dark, traveling cult, or a serial killer, systematically targeting the sisters of the church? Despite the chilling thematic overlap and the similar institutional settings, a methodical comparison of the evidence forced investigators to step back from the serial killer theory. While Pal's murder was defined by elaborate ritual and the deliberate inverted cross markings, Elam's murder, rape and strangulation near an overturned bench, seemed, structurally, more like a crime of opportunity that escalated into lethal violence. The broad pool of suspects in the Elam case reflected the immediate belief that a lone individual had stumbled upon the postulant nun during her solitary prayer. The suspense, which had temporarily focused on a cult killer, now shifted back to the original mystery. Was she killed by an opportunistic stranger, or was she silenced by targeted rage from someone intimate with the convent grounds, someone she may have known through her dedicated social justice work? This shift proves that the most persistent suspense is rooted not in the spectacle, but in the frustrating lack of concrete answers. Though decades have passed since 1977, the murder of Sister Robin Elam has never been truly cold. It has been continuously investigated by multiple entities, a distinction emphasized by the formation and efforts of the Ohio Valley Cold Case Task Force. This sustained commitment is driven by the heinous nature of the crime and the belief that the case is fundamentally solvable. The pursuit of justice has attracted highly specialized expertise, including the involvement of renowned cold case investigator Paul Holes. This relentless pursuit is the final act's major suspense element, focusing modern forensic science against the aging memories and fading evidence of the past. The most significant development in the investigation is the existence of carefully preserved DNA evidence recovered from the scene in 1977. In the age of forensic genealogy, this biological evidence is the ultimate ticking clock device. The killer, who believed he got away with murder, left behind his unique biological signature. Advances in DNA testing now offer investigators the ability to potentially identify the killer's distant family members through public genealogy databases. The investigative team cautions that this pursuit is a lengthy one, often taking months or years, but the fact remains: the killer is identifiable and justice is inevitable, but the delay is agonizing. The chilling reality of this case is that the man who raped and strangled Sister Robin Elam walked away from Mount St. Joseph and has lived for decades among his neighbors, operating under the assumption that his secret was safe. Yet today, his identity is contained within a fragile strand of biological material held hostage by forensic science. This realization that the killer is known to the universe but not yet by name maintains the high tension of the narrative and serves as a powerful reminder that unsolved crimes cast long, silent shadows over entire communities. The case of Sister Robin Elam is not history. It is an open wound and an active file for investigators who refuse to allow a violent predator to escape accountability. Her life, dedicated to social justice and service, was extinguished by a brutal, selfish act in a place meant for purity and reflection. The violation of her sanctuary and the systemic delays that followed created a true-life horror story that demands closure. The only remaining element missing from this equation is the final, decisive action that will put a name to the DNA. This file on Sister Robin Elam remains open. The DNA is catalogued. The only thing missing is a name. Will modern science finally break the silence of 46 years? Tell us what you think in the comments below. Based on the facts, was Sister Robin Elam killed by an opportunistic stranger, or was she silenced by targeted rage from someone she knew? If you have any information regarding the murder of Sister Robin Elam in June of 1977, please call the West Virginia State Police or the Wheeling Police Department directly. Furthermore, if you want to dive deeper into the darkness surrounding the clergy, click the video on your screen now, where the Dark Silent explores the shocking details of the ritualistic murder of Sister Margaret Ann Pal. Don't let the darkness win. Ensure you're subscribed to the Dark Silent and ring the notification bell for more untold nightmares.